Hello, hello. You're a bit early, so I figured just get started and we'll wait for people to trickle in. Let me get the music down a little bit and check on that, and then I'll transition off the screen. Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, my webcam's a bit ajar. There we go. That looks good. How's everyone doing on this Saturday? There we go. I don't need to be able to hear myself anymore. All right. I'll give it a bit more time, probably till 2 until I really start opening stuff. So, as that implies, going to be opening my Black Friday haul. That includes 3 of the gift bundles that they're offering. And how I got those was I bought one of each starter deck. So I should be focusing on the camera. Let's move this here, make it a bit easier. So of course, opening 2 of each of these starter decks. See if we can pull Stellar or Reverse Stellar from them. Let's hope there's something good from those packs. As well as another Daybreak booster box. So again, hoping just get some stuff. I don't need anything from these. I got everything that I need to. But it'd be cool just to open maybe some of the full arts that I haven't had. Or some cool Reverse Stellars or Stellars. And we'll see what we got from the bundles. Well, I haven't looked at it yet. We're going to see what comes in it together, as well as the promo cards. And then, of course, once I'm done with that, go ahead and transition to discussing Daybreak. Where did I have it? I have it over here. Let me pull it up here. Yeah, just kind of discussing the set contents as well, since I haven't done that yet, even though it's been fully revealed for about a month now. If not a month now exactly, actually. Yeah, this past month has been a bit crazy, so I've been thinking about wanting to get to it, just haven't had the time to. I mean, heck, I didn't even stream last month's Shattered Stars. I had to record that as a video just due to it being easier to do. But this month, I'm hoping to be able to create some time to be able to do that. We'll see. Yeah, I'm still going to give a few more minutes. I guess while we wait, let me just kind of start. Let me transition over to, where is it? Where's my main monitor? No. Main monitor with webcam. There we go. Yeah. Starters, Spirit artwork, always looks so amazing. I swear they just keep upping the quality of these artworks. This is amazing. Like, I love all of them. Kind of my plan with the decks is I've got all my nice hollow spirits that I've accumulated through Shattered Stars, each of the new sets, since they each have a hollow spirit. And I usually use those in the deck that primarily use the element, but in the decks that use them as like secondary elements or that isn't the primary focus, I usually like to use the latest set spirit artworks. So definitely going to be swapping out my Daybreak ones for the Moonrise ones. It's also a fun way to kind of keep things fresh. Kind of just feel like you're in the Moonrise game instead of just like still using the older spirits. I don't know. It puts me in a fun mindset. I like being able to switch between them. That being said, I'm sure as more spirits come out, I'm going to probably want to keep some that I really like. We'll see. But I also might just be able to get that from the hollow spirits, though. Of note, of course, based on how Daybreak did their hollow spirits, they are not of the Daybreak artwork ones, the ones that you get in every single pack, but instead of the original ones. But, of course, here, if we go down to the bottom, Moonrise reverts back to doing the hollow of the ones that come in the set. So that's pretty cool. As well down here, it's 2 more minutes. Yeah, discuss some of these full arts. I believe these are the box toppers. I love the Volcalypse one. This looks so cool. Possibly this looks cool, but that one just really does it for me. But in terms of the other full arts, of course, we got full arts within the set. Really like that this one is just like more of a cool pose for like social media. Meanwhile, this one feels like more character driven. Hey Graveshift, how are you doing? Yeah, I kind of like that they differentiate as more character focused. I kind of like this Fulgorix a bit better. I don't know, the pose there to me just is more striking. I mean, that's still a cool pose, but I feel like this one pops a bit more. And I like the Posthumous pose. I don't know. Really one half the other. Hey, but you've got options, thankfully. Hey Wirtz, how are you doing? What are the other full arts? Phasmocore, nice contrast to the Lestragon. I did pull a Lestragon. I had opened a box the other week, and it had a Lestragon in it. So I'm kind of want a Phasmocore full art to pair with it. Like, I kind of want to have one of each. It's kind of cool. Draking, definitely getting this one for my Draking decks. Like, I got the Reverse Stellar, Going to want to pair the full art with it. It looks so good. This looks amazing. I absolutely love it. You like the double up on the full arts? I honestly don't know how I feel about it, because on one respect, it's like in terms of just collector focus, it's kind of like doubling up on it feels a bit weird, because now you got 2 full arts. But then from a player perspective, it gives you the option to choose one or the other, which I do find is quite nice. I do typically like when there's multiple high rarity versions of it. I just think for me, the holdup is I'm used to them being very different instead of both different kind of full arts. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Like, as long as people got the option, I think it's awesome to have. Those are just kind of personal feelings for it. And Titan, of course, looks amazing as well. Starbit Supernova looks kind of goofy, but very much Palafin-esque vibes I'm getting from it. But still looks cool. This Tornadian looks so awesome. Like, these full arts keep going hard. Carry off, of course. Blizztrix. The color I'm not the biggest fan of. Still pretty cool. Artemis full art. Love that they started doing, well, they continue to do that. And then, of course, Ambrosia, Shield of Kids at the Armadon. We've got the Tsunami. I love that we're playing more of these generic runes here as well, just to kind of round out the suite. I definitely want a full art Tsunami because I love my water stuff. The other like full arts I haven't been really keeping, just because, you know, Gorgon's guys, that's going to be worth quite a bit. Do I really want to keep a full art? Do I want to get back some money to make some more? Like, it's just, to me, it wasn't worth it enough. I'm like super drawn to the card. It's just a really solid staple that, of course, you need to have. And that's kind of how I feel about the Shield of Achilles and the Ambrosia, but the Tsunami, I'm a watercaster. I love it. I still love the original full art Tsunami, not full art. Tsunami artwork with the foamy in the corner, making that funny face. I've got that as my iPad background, actually. Much better than the X out of 10. Yeah, I kind of like the colors. The colors feel more in line with the full arts. I do agree. Starbit's your favorite, but I'm biased. Understandable. All right, it's a little after 2, so let's switch over to actually opening the product. So let me go desk view. Perfect. So let me get my keyboard out of the way. So we'll end with the boost box for X. Let's see what's actually in this bundle here. So I still got it all wrapped up. Haven't even looked at it. So let's see what's actually the contents. Like, I know Dan outlined what would be in it, but I haven't actually looked at the specifics, and I don't remember what those contents were, so. Ooh, hopefully Grave Shift. I love, though I'm not banking on it. Thank you, Arts. I love the artwork. Got $50 bundles. A few of them here. I'm not necessarily banking on Star Luck because my luck's was insane with the Shire Stars month 9. I've had some great luck with Daybreak as well, or good luck with Daybreak with the reverse stellars. No, Shire Stars month 8 and 9 were really good for me. And then I was opening Cardfight Vanguard product, and I also got insanely lucky with that. So I'm not expecting too much. But all right, let's see what we got. Looks like I kind of got the same bundles. Okay. That is fine. So we've got, oh, right, the Fair Guys promo. Just slide off to the side, the Stone Tablet. We've already seen that one. So let's just get these open. Where is there it is. Of course, we can see a Frostfall Blister with a Vipyro Shattered Stars. Let me go get my trash can to make this easier. 1 second. Hey, Jester. Make this a bit easier on myself. So, yeah. And then, ooh, a Daybreak booster pack. And, of course, got the full art Stellar Nog here. Looking great with that blue Ambrosia color. And then the Flurmine Blister. That's nice. What about this? I'm expecting these all to be the same, which is what it is. It'd be cool to get like slightly different ones, but I understand probably the process. Oh, actually, nope. Frostfall, and then a Flurmine. That's fine. Honestly, Flurmine is the ideal one if I'm going to get one, just because it's a spirit. That's the only reason why. Like, I've got, I think, 4 copies of all the other 2 ones, the Platypulse and wherever the other one was that's escaping my mind. Frigid Cub, I believe is the other blister. Another Frostfall. So, I can't complain there. Just extra Flare Mines for my Frost Ducks. At this point, I think I have 3, 4, 5, 6 of these now? I think I might have 6. Oh, I didn't see that grave. Hey, with that promo deal, I'm not too surprised. Like, it definitely was very much trying to offload all this. So, let's start with this. Let's do this. Hey, Pink Cowie. It is afternoon for me. So good morning, good afternoon to you as well. Because, right, anyone on the West Coast would still be, at least for America, would still be in morning? Yeah, in morning. It would be like 11. I'm East Coast, so. Beautiful Starling Rock. I'm excited to see it. Get that off. Get the sticker off. Alright, let's see it. I love that they do this. Alright, let's see it. That is... Whoo! Actually, sorry. I'm going to pull this just so I can admire it for a second. That looks amazing. That is incredible. Look at that. It pops so well. I love that. I'm to the point where I'm speechless. This is gorgeous. That is so cool. Too far. There we go. All right, I'll open these later. We've seen one. We've seen them all. Let's do... I'll just do Sour Stars since they're right here. Right? Wasn't it like get the deal in time to grab any? Aw, oh, I'm sorry, Grave. Maybe we'll have to pick up one at a later date off of someone. So let's see. We know the contents of this. Nekruff, Exalt Flare, Co-Magma, Kinley. I love that Kinley artwork. Though it's so tough. I like this one, but I also really like the artwork from, I believe it is the... Is it the OTP packs? Let me check that. I'm trying to remember where else there's the Kinley, because there's one I really like. That I know I just switched these out for. I believe it's from the OTP packs. OTP, OP, whatever they're called. The Organized Play Packs. I might be using the wrong acronym. Ignore me if that's the case. Let's see. Oh, I am using the right one. Yeah, OTP Kinleo. It looks so good. Like, let me go back to my main monarchs I'm looking up. Look at this thing. That's incredible. So, I've been using that in my Fire Nexus deck. But anyway, back to the desk view. Volcaries. Ooh, and a Gorg. Hey, that's a good one. That's a very good one. Very happy to see that. Love me some Gorgon's Gaze. Let me move this out of the way. Between that front and center. All right, next one. Yeah, I always take more Gorgon's Gaze since practically all my decks are running it. Go through Volcaries and a Vipyro. That's another good one to get just because, again, it's just another spirit. You'd always never have enough spirits, at least of the shiny ones to really bling out stuff. And final one here. Let's see what we get. And Hephaestus, okay. Not the best one to get, admittedly, but hey. Hopefully, Hephaestus will get more artifacts for it to become more worth it. I know some people have been running it, so it's definitely not completely... Like, it's got its use cases, just definitely not one of the ones that's reached its potential yet. Unfortunate, since artifacts just aren't quite there yet. So let's do... Yeah, we'll just keep going through. I would think so. Besides maybe the staple runes, but the thing about the spirits ones is that they'll likely be universal. So, or... evergreen, that's what where I'm looking for. So you like can't go wrong with just having these spirits on hand for trading, for your decks, whatever. Other cards will probably come and go. All right, let's see. Cryoling, Volcanic Forge. I don't know how I want to do this. I don't know. Cockatotl. Babloon, Cyanectar, Stoke the Forge, Rise from the Depths, Sandstorm. Ooh, and a Morlith. Nice. That was one of the hardest cards I was struggling to get when I was originally opening the set. So that's nice to see. Good holo to start out with. More self-milled payoff, and this card I think will be a scary beater. More of the stadiums. Stoke the Forge, Rise from the Depths, Sandstorm. a Flammoth. Double holo out of those. Nice. Flammoth looking awesome as always. Let's just go for the Daybreak pack, and then we'll go into the bundles. Let that thing pull. There it is. Yeah, we'll just do the Sundial, Glimbat, Neblio, P-Gleam, Lumaru, whole Solar Suite, Nomodial, Lehoprice. It's going to be all Solar pack. Ruminous. Ooh, and a Coastal Lift. No, cool. I just built a Coastal Lift deck. Card's not that insane. Like, it's a cool card. Condition's a bit hard to meet. And just casting out a 1 cost with an 8 body, like, it's if you have exactly Galaxy, it's good. I think it's a fun card. Don't think it's that insane. Alright. I like the concept of it. That's a good way to put it. Alright, let's dig into these blisters here. Right. See, I'm so used to being in the mode of... Never mind. Mode of can't discuss Moonrise stuff. So, of course, being like, oh yeah, Morless stonks up, can't say anything. But now that Moonrise is revealed, yeah, we finally got a great middle starter Elestral in Snowlet. And also some more just payoffs as well, strong payoffs. So very happy to see the development of that deck. I think it has a chance to be a really, really fun deck. Forgot how much those cards curve. Damn, made a good change with the card stock there. Yeah, that's helped. Cool. All right, 3 more packs of Frostfall. See what we get. I forgot that sometimes can happen. And there's the Cry Scorch. God, I've not opened Frostfall in so long. I forgot about that. Sometimes the packs are organized that way. All right, no hit that pack. Coastlift does look awesome. Let's see. Ooh, Locagon. I think it does look awesome as well. Like, this card looks awesome. I wish it was a bit better. But hey, maybe if we get some more like 1 cost support, maybe this can become better. Locagon, that's an awesome one to get as well. Set prong. Tap flow. And then, let's see. Final Frostfall pack. And, ooh, Chevrolet. Pretty good holo luck here. Out of the however many... Well, how many Frostfall packs was that? That was 5 Frostfall packs? Hit 4 out of 5 holos? And out of what, 6 packs that I opened, 5 of them had holos? Yeah, that's pretty good. That is actually very good. Cool. Of course, 2 key Frost guys, Water, and Flammoth. Alright, let me move this off to the side and make way for the Daybreak stuff. So, that was it for Holos and Frostfall. Never stuff coming, man. Never stop coming. Yeah, they really don't. Alright, so that was the bundle, the gift bundle stuff out of the way. All done there. And we'll be moving into opening Daybreak. Again, got a booster box and 2 starter decks to open here. We gotta keep this on screen, right? Like, this looks too good not to just have somewhere on screen here. So we'll just throw stuff around it. I'm gonna try to keep my cards organized. Literally all solar except for that Coastal Lift. That is hilarious. That all Elestrals too. Yep, cool. So put that up there. All right. What are we thinking? I'm thinking we'll do starter decks first. We'll do Chronodial. Actually, I'm going to do Pharaohgeist first for the sole reason of wanting, if I pull a Stellar, I'd prefer it to be something out of the Chronodial starter deck. So let's save that for last. Well, second, I guess, since I'll do the booster box. I'm not doing the booster box before the starter deck. Jeez, I should have gotten like scissors or something. While I try to get this open, since we're going to do a Moonrise discussion after this, what card or like group of cards are you most looking forward to out of Moonrise? I need to look at the set list again to remember which one I'm most excited for. Oh, darn. Tossed a sticker. There we go. All right. Let's get this Pharaoh starter deck open. I have way too many of these dice now. More than I ever need. We got 3 booster packs. Just toss that on the floor. For now, I'll clean it up later. I think I will save. I'll get these star decks open first and then. I don't know. I changed my mind. I'm opening packs. All right, let's see. Pharaoh, did we get a stellar? Nope. And I believe that would be the slot because the other one's the reverse stellar first light, but I think it would be there as well. Yeah, cool. So I had staples in this deck though. Like I opened another one the other week and just kind of looking through. Spectaris is nice. What else is like really good? Argos, appreciated. PTA, Altar, Dense Fogs. A lot of great stuff in here. All right, let's crack open these packs here. See what we get. We've got the Humbust, the Eddy, always a great card to get. The Larva Cell, the Veritoka, the Toxiswarm, the Poison Tunic, Mudslide, Rock in a Hard Place, and a Cryspore. I need to scooch these over. Probably do it like that. Yeah, we'll organize that. And an Alone Spirit. There we go. Probably not hang up too much on cards because we've seen these all already. We've had plenty of time to play with them. We just want to see the shiny stuff. Tuga, Vipyro. I'm definitely very excited for Moonrise, though, a new set to start opening. Probably just because I've been opening quite a bit. Ooh, good blue color there. It's those dark ones. Opened so much Daybreak these past weeks. Argo, that's a nice one. It's a good one to get. All right, so out of that, those are the 3 packs from the Pharaoh starter deck. Not too bad in Argo. I'm very happy to see that. Definitely been seeing a lot of experimentation. I was trying to build Phosphocell. That's what I was trying to build. And my first try at it, because of the Zeus limit, meaning that Thunder now doesn't have like a consistent Nexus bank, my first thought was to try an artifact build with Argo, with the thought being that I can then just play an artifact Nexus off with Larva Cell to start ascending or trigger Rational or whatever I need to do. And then the other idea I was trying out there was like Cypromol, since Golden Fleece doesn't need to be properly enchanted to grab back spirits from Underworld. But that deck just didn't really work out, unfortunately. I was trying to make it work. But the artifact, the Argo felt fine. It was just awkward because it's like, I don't really want to, unless I'm about to go for a Nexus play, do I really want to cast Argo? And then Larva Cell can only Nexus 1 spirit. And the good artifacts are, well, 2 spirits that you would want to run with Argo. So it just ended up being like super awkward, unfortunately. And then on top of that, I was just looking at Phosphocell. Really cool card. I really love the look of it. I got a full art. And then the OTP Stellar Anacell. So I really wanted to play it. Problem I was running into that deck was that what was the benefit to going Phosphocell? Rune control. I can bring back spirits. That's okay. I can also stay low to ground and use Thunderstorm, but it's at least something. And then the other thing was have it be a big beater with Stadium, but we also have Arclift for that. So it's just really tough because it's like I felt like there's just better stuff you could be doing. Phosphocell doesn't quite have its niche. The other thing is, the other appealing part could be a combining Thunder and Solar, but Solar really wants to stay within itself right now. Just how, especially Apollo functions, that made it just super awkward. So I think there might be some fun Solar Ascension ramp deck that could be had with like a Larva Cell. So the whole point of Larva Cell is just to throw it down Nexus and start ramping, but we'll see. All right, let's see. Come on. Is it going to be a Sundial? Nope. And Rock and Hard Place. Let's check that. Yeah, I think that's it. Still some great cards in here, like again, Argo. More Gorgon's Gaze. Swimming in Gorgon's Gaze now. So let's crack open these packs. I do think Moonrise also can lead to a really fun just Solar Ascension ramp deck with the new Kakare. My thought is that we already have Cows ramping. You've got the Lion stuff that also likes First Light. So why not? That's Fog. That's a nice pull. Why not just combine it all? So now, depending on what your one cost you find in hand is, you can use First Light to try to ramp into it, and then Larva Cell adds like an additional dimension to that deck where you just have Apollo down, you can Nexus to it and start ramping up as well. So I was figuring to try it, just a bunch of, let's just run a bunch of Ascension and see what happens. Another Eddie, never, well, I've got too many Eddies, but also not enough. Ooh, Lestragon, that is nice. Playing a Solar ramp deck, or a Solar toolbox combo deck the other day, and I did quite like the fact that you can like ramp and Cows, pop something, next turn pop something, ascend Lestragon, try to pop another thing. That's kind of cool to be able to do. Right. So this is the final pack? I guess it is. Anacell, Vulgaris, another Coastalith. Alright, not bad. 50% hit rate on holos from the starter deck packs. Not too shabby. I'll throw them all over here. And let's get into this booster box. See what we can get. Hopefully I get a different full art. There are still some full arts I have not pulled or seen. So I don't remember which one's off the top of my head. I know I've pulled like 2 Gorgon's Gaze. I don't know if I think there's a PTA in here. I don't know if I pulled that. Might have. I've pulled Phosphocells, Curibus, Lestragon now, Apollo. Actually, did I pull Apollo? I don't know if I pulled a full art Apollo. That'd be cool to see. Ooh, and the box topper. I don't know. If I remember correctly, as of a week ago, none of the stellar box toppers had been found. So come on. First stellar box topper, right here, right now. Let's see it. Nope, it's just another Chrono Die. I pulled way too many of these. No joke, literally, I'll take Pharaohgeist or Celestleo, just not another Chrono Dial. I got my playset. Unless it's a Stellar Chrono Dial. Stellar 1 out of 10 Chrono Dial, I will take those. But yeah, let's get into this booster box. 36 packs. Let's see what we find in here. Nothing with that first pack. You just start this though. So let's get again, just to see. Since we're moving into a Moonrise discussion after I open these packs, what are you most looking forward to from Moonrise? There be just a deck, a specific card, full art? Let me know. First holo is a Curibus. Check something real quick. Oh, that's all it is. Yeah, that's fine. All right, sweet. Scoopy back here. Cool, cool. Yeah, would love to know what is intriguing you all. What you're hoping to do with, oh gosh, I messed up. Do with Moonrise, since that's super exciting. I might have put some other, anyway. Put Thunder cards there, that's fine. I was mentioning this Ascension ramp deck I was going through. Ash Rabbit, that's nice. My Ash Rabbits have been selling. Huh. There's an extra box topper in here. Celestleo, okay. Is there like a random Pharaohgeist seated in here now? That'd be funny. 2 box toppers for the price of 1 box, apparently. That definitely wasn't supposed to happen. That's kind of funny. And a Pharaohgeist. It'll probably be the last Daybreak box I open, probably ever. So I'm gonna have a fun time out of it. golden fleece. Nice. I think this card does have some potential since it can, if you're going for a big play, insulate whatever big play you have. Now your opponent needs to have 2 ways to out it instead of just the one. Bags. Oh. Celestia. Nice, nice. Let me see. I'll quickly look through just to kind of get some more chat topics. Ooh, here's a good one. Elestrals Clash Alpha just released yesterday. I saw like MBT, I saw Wirt streaming it. I did try it out as well. And I definitely see the potential in there. Definitely is an alpha, so it's got more work to be put into it, but Exaltist, you can see all, at least in my opinion, I could see the potential in there for it to be really, really, really cool. And I'm excited as they build out more of a card pool as well. Just a proper client to play on that's automated. Like the app, original app, looks cool. I think the original app does work a bit better as sandbox. So like when I was trying out, it felt a bit like I almost wish it was sandbox, just so I had more freedom to do what I wanted without having to try to decipher it. But of course, that's the point, is just to make it super user friendly. Siphon, nice. So that was just more of a personal, like, okay, gosh, now I have to figure out how to play this. But hey, with all that feedback, they should easily be able to iron it out. Because the whole benefit to alpha is just have it out there, people testing it, giving feedback so they know what to implement, what to focus on, what do users want. If they can follow through with a lot of those, should be good. It'll also be great once it's on mobile as well. Just play it on the go. Oh, it'll be so much fun. Another Siphon, cool. Siphons with my golden fleece. But right now, I was looking through the current card pool, and it was funny because I was like, you know, right now in the meta, especially when we saw with the most recent ban list, Earth and Thunder got hit because it has been performing very well since base sets. So since the release in really the tournaments from April, so it's been over half a year. So then to log in there and see the cards that they have in there are pretty much, ooh, Apollo, nice. A lot of the Earth cards, like the power play Earth cards, I think the only real power play Earth card missing is Viscerus right now. And he's even got Mudlet. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to build Earth. You got all the kind of key Thunder cards you need for Earth. Another Golden Fleece. Very solar box. So it's like, let's just build like an Earth Nexus deck as well. With all the limited back row as well, like Eagleings can be scary. Pop the Shield of Achilles and just push in. You can also pop your opponent's Divine Runes. Ooh, Cryoblast, that's a nice one. Just pop your opponent's Divine Runes as well if they overcommit to them. Like, it's a very interesting dynamic. I just find it funny because it's like, that's what current meta is kind of in, and the card pool there leans just heavily into that. Xaltis. What was that? Okay, that's what that ping was. All right, not a worry. All right. It'll be real fun once it is in beta and Moonrise is in there. Start trying all the Moonrise stuff. Geist. And then of course this month we've got Shattered Stars. I'm super excited for the Ardbud. He's a very interesting consistency card. Kind of following in this more trait space. I forget what they call them. For Elestrals, that search power that Exaltis does. being on receive is real interesting. The Ascension condition is also quite interesting as well. I don't know if you'll want to main deck the Ascensions. Speaking of Exaltus, there's one. Just because you have to set up your board for that disenchant for the first Ascension, and then give up bodies on board to get into the Titan, which doesn't necessarily feel all that great. Especially since it's a lot easier to deal with big bodies than smaller ones. However, as a side deck option, if you're already running like Earth, then you've got your Ardbud to help search out your key insectoid Elestrals. Upside down Ruminous, upside down Solstox, upside down Pheramel, and Helios. I'm getting the full artifact package suite. Like, look at this. What is that? 2 Cypromal, 2 Golden Fleece, and now a Heliolith. Do I need to play like solar artifacts? Is that what this is telling me? But it was the Ardbud. However, if you're already playing the Ardbud natively, just having the 2 Ascensions in the side. So if your opponent is on some insectoids, especially like Viscerus, that could be quite interesting. Or even just if you're on Earth, you don't even need Ardbud. If you just want to run, say, like an Aardvarm and Antitan in your side deck and just side it in if you know your opponent's pushing to get out some Insectoid Elestrals, so you can just use it. Ooh, Spectaris, that's a nice one as well. To start Ascension ramping, that sounds quite interesting to me. Just super punished for it. Poison Tunic, Mudslide, and a Rhinosect. I haven't actually seen a Rhinosect, which is fine. The last boost box I opened, I was opened like 5 Rhinosects. It's crazy. It's like every other pack, it felt like it was a Rhinosect. Oh. There we go. But getting more cards like Ardbud is just super exciting. Gives you more access to your tools, more creativity. Another Golden Fleece, dang. My third one. All right, how many hollows have I opened? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I've got 4 more, and I'm near the bottom of the booster box. So I should have Full Art, Spirit, and then 2 the 2 regular hollows guaranteed. The potential of them being better. Falafros? Hopefully it will be. Reverse Stellar or Stellar would be awesome. Probably would also like to save my Stellar luck for either Shattered Stars or Moonrise. So, another Argo again. It's telling you to play. This is a very artifact heavy box. Dang. Porcutide, Anacell. Another Dense Fog. That's another good card to get. That's like, what, my 3rd Dense Fog? Sweet. Love seeing, really, I think the chase rares from this set by far and away are Dense Fog and those Cryoblasts. So any number of those I can get, I'm very happy. I think I've only got 1 Cryoblast, so hopefully can pick up another 1 or 2. Oop, Festivatuga. Ash Rabbit. It's another good one to have. Really cool card. Not something you want to run a huge amount of, but like late game, that card is really good. Another Ash Rabbit. Okay. Oh no, that goes there. How many packs do I have left? I think I've got 4 packs left. All right, 4 packs left. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So, guaranteed, we've got Full Art, Spirit, and then 1 regular, just rare or better. See if we hit that or better. Ooh. Circle the Sky. Like the first holo I've seen on TCG Player to hit below $1 from this set. But I also haven't been looking too closely, so the ones I've listed. but there are a million printings of it at this point, especially with the most recent Shattered Stars, so not too surprising. Should be looking at Full Art and Spirit coming up. Anocel, Fulgaris, Javalocan, and a Farragut. Ooh, final 2 packs. Let's see what we get. We still have Spirit and Full Art. Let's see it. Rummacle, Humbust, Eddie, Larvicel, Veratoka, Solstox, Pheramel, Barabog, and Elestricon. So a duplicate there. Still looks great. I really like it. Oh, I actually have 2 packs left. Not bad. They still should have the Spirit left. P-Gleam, Lumaroo, Soul Bell, Calf Mel, Corvishine, Morfrost Bat, Polzer, Bow of Apollo, Exaltus. Cool. That means the Spirit's in the last pack. With my luck, it will be another Aloon. Didn't pull Aloon out of my case that I originally got, but I've been pulling it nonstop whenever I've gotten a booster box since. Humburst, Porcutide. Oh, interesting. So no Spirit from this box. That's fine. But 2 Full Arts. I actually have not gotten that Celestlio yet. That's cool. So double Full Art here. Celestlio and Lestragon. Yeah, that's a good question. I think it will still see play because you've got ways to search it. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility you try to get a Komagma to stick for a turn. As long as you can get it to stick for a turn, you just pretty much tell your opponent you need to have Gorgon's Gaze or else I'm getting out this Ferrogeist. I'm actually kind of happy for double Full Art over the Spirit. Just because it got me a different Full Art. This box was a weird one. Ooh. Well, oh well. I'll clean that up later. This box was an interesting one because not only did it have the double box topper, but it had the double Full Art. Cool. Alright, so reviewing the box here. Box toppers again. Got 2 Chronodon Celestlio. That's kind of funny. For the foils, we've got Circlet Sky, Argo, Golden Fleece, Spectrus, Heliolith, Golden Fleece, Apollo, Cyprimal, Celestlio, Golden Fleece, Curibus. A very solar artifact heavy focus one with 3 Golden Fleece, 2 Cyprimal, Heliolith. And of course the Argo. And then Full Arts, Lestragon and Celestlio. That looks awesome. I've not seen this one yet. Love the characterization here of the Celestlio on the peak, just looking down. Got Quackle, is that Giraflora, Aeromare, Veratoka, and there's something else in the background. What is that? Can't make out what it is. Oh, Chrysor. That's what it is. Oh, and a Typhlant. That's cool. That's really cute. I put these to the side. So overall, no crazy high rarity stuff, but just solid luck all around on, yeah, just everything. Cannot oppose. So with that, let me get these out of the way so we can discuss Moonrise. Just kind of go through the set. Really gotten to the point where I'm just excited for it because I've been playing Daybreak for so long, I'm ready for something new. I think I got 1 Cryoblast, but 3 Dense Fog is amazing. The one, the Dense Fog might come from the starter deck? I don't remember. Unimportant. Solid opening overall. Real draw here was, of course, this gorgeous Stellar Nectar of the Gods. 3 of them. My preferred one. All right. With that out of the way, let's go back to, where is it? Main monitor with webcam. There we go. All right. So let's just start going through these card by card. I kind of already discussed some of the artwork, but let's just get started here. So, voice is a little scratchy. Let me make sure I'm drinking enough water. Yes, Moonrise time. So let's start here with the lunar stuff, of course. So we got the Nabi line, Nabi Doppelganger, Fulgorix. The most interesting thing for me for this line is definitely the Nabi Doppelganger, just because this one is a pseudo 6 against non-solar or lunar enchanted guys, and it's at 4 attack, so it can easily start pressuring those. And then of course it can then, when it destroys something, just ascend up into Doppelganger. So it's sort of a kind of Cryoling Cryovern situation that's just more aggressive, because since you can go Nabi, ascend to Doppelganger, battle phase, Doppelganger hasn't attacked yet, it can just attack right away. So if you're down on board, this is a great way to come back, or just push 2 spirits to face, and it's cheap as well. So this will probably demand some sort of immediate response, or else your opponent's taking damage, which I really, really like. Doppelganger's kind of so-so. I can see that condition mattering sometimes, like just being able, especially if you're not up against lunar or solar, just being able to throw this down, it will demand removal if you properly enchant it. But there's also a realm where you want to misenchant it with water. Obviously, if your opponent has Tsunami, they'll probably Tsunami the Nabi, but if it can just help insulate it later on as well. It'll be interesting how that kind of plays out, whether you'd be wanting to go for the proper enchant or not. Just how often will this effect really matter here? It just kind of makes it more obnoxious. I could see it mattering. It's pretty cool. Ascension Condition will obviously just be for a Fulgorix built around deck. I don't think decks that are running, like, I expect decks to run just like kind of like the Cryoling Cryovern, just the package of these two. The other interesting thing is, I think Insectoid Trait Me can be searched out by Ardbud. So I could see a deck, like even just Earth after the restrictions, just going Ardbud, and now you can either search out your Viscerus or just go search out Nabi as another great pressure tool that kind of accomplishes something similar, that just goes tall instead of wide. That's pretty cool. Fulgorix here, excuse me. That attack drop effect is interesting. Nexus, receive 1 more, you can target an opponent's card and put it on the bottom deck. Bot deck is very powerful. That is very powerful. And then the fact that it's receive on Nexus, meaning it synergizes with stuff like altars on your opponent's turn. Like, you could really disrupt your opponent with this card, which is very interesting. Does require a lot of setup though, and it's not like, other than needing the divine for nexusing, the other thing is, if you're removing the stuff, do you really need to suppress it with the Artemis? That's the other question. So maybe this might work a bit better with Aeolus, but of course then you can't necessarily search out the Nabi to try to Ascension ramp up. So I'll find it interesting to see how people end up building this deck to make it work, because it doesn't, at least how I see it, it doesn't quite mesh perfectly with either of the like Aeolus or Artemis to really benefit it. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how people kind of work around that to get this guy to work and be beneficial. Or is a divine build even the way to go? Do you just want to do Stadium or Artifact? So how they get that next spink will be very interesting, but definitely the payoff there, very, very strong. I also find it interesting if we go Doppelganger, because you need to receive 1 or more Lunar Nexus Special Ascendant. So now you need 2 Nexus tools to be able to set this one up. I guess you get a pop right away anyway, because you can just Nexus again. But this is throwing a lot of spirits on it. I don't know. I will find it interesting to see how people work it out, because again, there's just a bunch of moving pieces here that don't quite mesh up, but the payoff might be good enough to still go for it. But 100% Navi Doppelganger, great push here. Fawnlet. I love that this searches Artemis or Theraheart. I love that kind of duality for it. In terms of what it does, I mean, we've already seen Fawnlet. It's fine. It really is just there to help with some consistency. Theraheart, though, this one's interesting. Negate a counter rune? I mean, in reality, are you going to ever negate a counter rune? Probably not, because your opponent doesn't want to give you a Depostomus. So most likely it's just going there just to say, hey, you're not going to play counter runes, I'm going to get an attack in, deal with it, which is still nice. And then Posthumus, we've had this one, cool effect. It's a bit easier to get into now, which is kind of nice, but we'll see if it ends up doing too much here, just because there are other things that you can do with the same way you get in the Posthumus that I think are just a bit better, but still an interesting and fun build around. Then we got the Voldusk line here. Voldusk, obviously, feel free to chime in. I'm just going to keep rattling off. Feel free to chime in, and I'll respond to chat as well. Very much unfiltered here. Voldusk. This one's a cool card with the lunar phases. Just being able to draw a card or heal a lunar from Underworld to Spirit deck. Activate twice per turn. Just a cool combination of cards to just generate some resources and yeah, can really, I think, lead to an interesting control deck. Full Umbra here, discard lunar phase during your main phase. You can special send your Voldusk into Umbra from your hand. Send your Voldusk. Oh, okay, so it's from hand. So you can ramp into this one a bit easy, and when you cast Lunar Phase Full, you can special send this Full Umbra into Volclips from your deck. Interesting just to be able to ramp up. The big question is the Volclips really worth it? Because this can be a bit awkward. Like, discard Lunar Phase, that's fine. Lunar Phase got some discard effects to be able to ramp up into something bigger. Full Moon is just a bit slow. That's really what it is. So now you need to hold this in hand until you have another Lunar Phase and Full Moon. It's just how consistently can it off. The support has ways to do that, but we'll see if it ends up paying off. But that Voldusk, I think, is really, really good just as a control base to do other stuff. It's so new, though. That's the thing. Elestrals hasn't had anything quite like an extensive package like that, so it's a lot to process and think about. I'll be curious to see how it ends up shaping up. And I'm kind of hoping I'm wrong about this Vulnerable stuff. Like, usually I want these big things to be good. There's just some inherent skepticism just because how the game has played out now. That we'll see what happens. But Volclips, +1 for each different title among Lunar Phase in your Underworld. Okay. And you can shuffle 8 different Lunar Phase titles from everyone to your deck in order to return an opponent's field to their hand. That's interesting. But by the time you get here, how much of a board does your opponent have? That's my question. That's usually my question with it. But even just bouncing a few things back and hitting in for 3 might be not too bad. Yeah, it's a cool payoff. I don't know how relevant it will be, unfortunately, but I think the real thing, because these decks seem so crazy, like if you can get it off against your opponent having a fully set up board, maybe they send it something big and you just bounce it all back, because this is non-targeting as well. That's really interesting. But can you set up those scenarios and get this out consistently enough for those to be reality? We'll see. Gloombat, biggest loser of the set, unfortunately, with Hurricane, because your opponent's just not going to likely not going to just set a ton of back row. However, I think this card might have some side deck potential. If your opponent sees that you're not really running Hurricane or the elements to really play Hurricane, I could see them potentially playing a bit more aggressive on their counter runes, and then if you can just side in Gloombat, you can punish them for it, which is kind of nice. And it helps with Ascension plays, or it just can be re-enchanted pop stuff, or just pop sign and then normal chant. Like, it's a good card. It's a very good card. It's just unfortunate that there's another card here that might curb its usefulness for what it can do. But maybe, again, side deck play. Phasmocore, this one fascinates me. I don't know if it's good enough, but I kind of want to make a fun deck that's just trying to keep bringing it back time and time and time again, and just keep whacking the opponent for 8. That could be kind of fun. They just kind of have to keep dealing with it. It might get a bit too expensive, but we'll see. Hypnosum. Wow. I'm trying to say Hypotnose. Hypnosum. When destroyed, you can special cast it in attack position, Misenchanted. That's interesting. It's very thematic. Don't think it's very good. Do you really want to spend the turn just casting out a 1/1 just to try to keep up iron? Like, decks have just a better ways to keep other stuff on board and bodies just to get stuff to stick. It's really thematic, though. So another card that I've been seeing wildly different opinions about, from this is meta shaping to no one will play this. Well, that's the thing. I think I've heard this, and I agree with this take. We'll scroll down to Hurricane here, since we're on the topic. Hurricane, destroy all face down runes, costing 3 from 3 different elements. So benefits to this card being played: Thunder, Water are 2 of the most common elements being played. So if you're already running those 2 elements, sliding in 1 Wind and maybe like 1 or 2 Hurricane, not that crazy. It's really expensive though. This is so cute, but the Hypnosum. But the mere existence of this card, I think, is more threatening than anything else. So what I expect to happen is, in the early days of the meta, I expect that most people will probably respect this, at least in game 1, and not try to set a ton. And then once they see what elements you're on, what deck you're on, in games 2 and 3, they probably will play a bit more aggressively if they can reasonably say you don't have Hurricane. But if you're on like Thunder and Water, I could also see people just kind of respecting it, not knowing what is in your side deck at all. But then I could see it also pivoting away as the meta develops and people aren't really playing it. Then you start seeing meta calls being like, well, people aren't playing this, so I'm going to play more aggressively and not respect this, in which Gloombat can potentially come back. And then from there, people see that people are doing that, they can start punching. So you start making these back and forth meta calls. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hurricane usage instead is something that is more of a meta call tournament after tournament. And you kind of see this pendulum swinging back and forth as people try to make that call and not make that call. Because it really is one of those things where this card's mere existence both can make it highly playable, yet not worth it at all. And that's quite interesting. Let's see, where was I? Ectopossum. Yeah, this guy's adorable. Ectopossum. Sent from your hand or deck to the underworld. You can expend Lunar in order to special cast this from your underworld with Lunar. I don't think there's anything that really takes too much advantage of this right now. It's another interesting way to Ascension ramp, because in theory, you can do some Golden Apple shenanigans, discard Ectopossum, special cast it out, ramp up into any other 3-cost Lunars. Or Fairgeist. That's another option. Just needs to have 2 Lunar Nets enchantment cost. But at the same time, when you have plays such as with Full Moon, sticking Celestial Full Moon, I just think you have better ways to set that up that doesn't need to trigger a discard. I just don't think there's enough discard in Elestrals right now to make this worth it. And then Mill just has better payoffs than Lunar. Like, we don't really have too much of a Lunar Frost combination for the Mill aspect of this to be all that appealing to me. If we can get more of that kind of support, I think that this card could be potentially interesting. Like, give us a Lunar Frost for self-mill. That could be interesting. So I would say watch out for this card. I think it does have potential, just the payoff isn't there for it. Toxiri, this one looks to be pretty good. Search out Dense Fog. That's a decent card. I think it's made better by the fact you can search it out. And Suppress Elestrals get -2/-2. Suppression just seems pretty cool. Got other ways to suppress, just to kind of have things bounce off or crash into things unexpectedly. It just adds an interesting battle element to this card that doesn't previously exist. I don't know if the suppression deck is quite there yet with the tools, but we got Artemis, so that's not bad. But definitely a key card for that sort of deck, and it does have potential for sure. If you're already running Dense Fog in your deck, or I can even see this being a side deck package. If you want to side in Dense Fog, you just signed in Toxiri as well, because it finds you your Dense Fogs and can be quite disruptive. Night Venom. I know MBT loves this card. So you can discard Dense Fog in order to target and destroy up to 2 cards while you have at least 2 Dense Fogs in your underworld. This Night Venom cannot be targeted by opponents' Invoke runes. So quite obnoxious to deal with, and that's a really great combination. Just being able to pop your opponent's battle tricks. And then they lost their counter runes, so now they need to rely on their Celestial effects to destroy this one. This could be quite obnoxious. It's just how consistently are you okay holding your Dense Fogs until you have Night Venom? Like, obviously you want to use Toxiri to search them out. You'd rather Toxiri search them out than draw into them. But then, of course, you need to find your Night Venom, ascend into it, and you're holding those Dense Fogs. Do you want to do that? That's the other question, but definitely has potential. It just depends on how consistently you can set up all these pieces. Werepup, yes. Normal casts search for a Lunar Phase, add hand. Great support. Just a body to search out Lunar Phases. And when you cast Full Moon, ascend a Werepup into Like a Void from hand or deck. That part to me is kind of scary, just because now this is a 1-card combo to get out into Like a Void, which can deal a lot of damage. It kind of just demands that your opponent try to answer this Werepup right then and there, or else you're going to get out the big boy here. Though when I first saw this, it was a bit scary, but at the same time, it being like a counter rune, it can lead to stuff where you don't necessarily want to, because Like a Void, if you've cast Full Moon, deals piercing damage and is unaffected by counter runes. You really want to be doing it on your turn to get off that effect, so it is immune. But at the same time, like, I think it's still good. Like, obviously this will be paired with the Voldust stuff, so you can just kind of jump into resources, find this, put in a push. Like, that's kind of nice. So I do think this is a strong combination of cards, but not super oppressive. Like, I think it seems scarier than it probably will end up being, just because you can probably force a lot of times to force your opponent to cast Full Moon, so you don't get the protection effect for the Like a Void, unfortunately. Follow-up, which won't always be that likely. But it would be interesting to see how this one plays out here. But honestly, just be able to search out that Full Moon, I think is good enough on your own, where just running some Werepup and then like what, 2 Werepup, full moon, a full moon like a void. So then even if the Werepup gets answered, you can still full moon load stuff up and ascend elsewhere. Like it seems solid. And I guess I should talk about full moon just for context. Where is it? Enchant Lunar to Celestial on your field. That's the main part I'm talking about. It is a counter rune, so it is a bit slow, but that just helps with like ascension ramping and whatnot. I think that's the primary appeal to it. Havacub can't be position swap. Interesting little beater. Don't know if it will quite make the cut. Just because it's a 4 attacker, so like it leaves a bit to be desired in the attack department, but being tsunami immune is kind of nice. Pulvero though, whew. Speaking of ways to try to build up into bigger ascensions, it's got a great stat line, and this Pulvero can, in your hand, can be special ended from a Lunar Celestial if you also disenchant Lunar from your field. Note with this effect, this is not something that gets, this is just an action you take, not an action that gets added to a chain. So your opponent can't Gorgon's Gaze to stop this, or they would have to preemptively read that you have it to be able to Gorgon's Gaze whatever Lester have on board. That's very interesting and very thematic. Just surprise, Pulvero, all it was said in. It's really cool. Obviously, if you set up something else like an Artemis, it can be kind of telegraphed that you might be doing that, but still, just an interesting way to get a bigger guy out on board. And then if your opponent can't answer it, again, build up in those 3 costs. Something I'm noticing from Lunar is a lot of great ways to build up into 3 costs, which is the whole reason Pharaoh Guy seems very appealing, because that's probably the most interesting looking 3 cost out of all of them that we've talked about, just because it is just like independently good. It doesn't need any other setup to be able to do what it needs to do, and can just be an obnoxious guy on board. So you can dedicate all your setup to just getting it out. Drakid we already know about. Draken we already know about. Happen to actually have the regular holo as well. Corvuskull. Cool play on the Corvishine. I'm going to keep rambling here, so if you all have input to put as well, please let me know, or like questions, I'll gladly answer them. So Corvuskull here, when it receives a Lunar Foretell 3 and exchange a Foretold card with a card in your underworld. Note this does not work with spirits. Pretty sure that's been confirmed. So that is a quite interesting twist where you can kind of loop stuff back from your underworld. Kind of cool. Stack it up. It just doesn't do anything though, which is the biggest thing. Like, how useful is that, since now you have to draw into it? That's my big question. So we'll see. Interesting concept though. It does go hard. You know, isn't there the Stellar? Is that the one that got the Stellar? I don't remember. We'll go through the stars as well. Bandaloon, expend Lunar in order to take control of an opponent's face down rune. That's kind of a funny gimmick. I don't think it'll be very good, because it's expend 2 Lunar. That's very expensive just to get Gorgon's Gazed or Tsunami. Like, there's a ton of stuff that can be chained to it. Kind of funny. Porky Wraith. See, enters battle, give the Celestial -2 for each Lunar enchanting this Porky Wraith until end phase. I don't think it's an interesting battle trick. I just don't think it's good enough. Like, this is just kind of the worst version of Spectaris. Can scale, but I think it would need to have like better stats or a better stat drop to be able to make it worth it. This essentially makes it a 4/4 at a base, which I just don't think is good enough. Comalis, another design that goes hard. This is the Nexuser for Lunar. Nexus, Lunar, and when you do search your deck for a Spectral Elestral and add it to your hand. It's a great enabler for the deck. And this is, again, you play this out. If you can get this to stick for a turn, you can just ramp into like Pharaohgeist. And that's kind of scary. And that holds true for any Spectral 3 cost. Yep, that's definitely a theme here. It's an interesting theme. I don't think it's all that great, but not everything has to be great. Like, I'm mostly talking from like a more competitive perspective, or even like you're trying to make playable but optimized decks. That's mostly the perspective I'm talking from. But like, it's no problem. Like, obviously the thematics can sometimes be more important. So Bandaloon, I'm just going to try to steal your counter runes, and it's funny. I don't care if it works. I just want to do it. Perfectly acceptable. And I love that there is that option for some of these cards. So don't take me saying they're not that great as why are these being printed. It's just simply I'm not all that compelled to run it as well. It would just be mostly for a fun gimmicky kind of thing that you want to do. Cryptoros. Plus Jack, for each time you foretold this turn, you can spend Lunar in order to foretell 3 and add any number of Lunar Elestrals that cost at least 2 spirits foretold this way to your hand. This one's interesting. It really does play into this Ascension ramping theme, Bismeal to find them. I don't think foretell 3 is enough. Like, it's a 4/4. That's not bad. But it's just... I don't want to expend a spirit to find nothing, so then I have to run enough 2 or 3 costs. Like, I just don't see top 3 being enough for this to be consistent enough to be worth it. Exactly, for Bandolier, the difference between what's good and what's fun. Necrolith here. This one, really powerhouse for the suppressed deck. 7 attack makes it big. So if your opponent has at least 2 suppressed cards, you can summon it out. I know this says cards. This makes it way more versatile than something like Coastalith, because I know Coastalith kind of has that similar condition. I got the Coastalith right here. Similar condition, your opponent needs 2 Elestrals in defense position, but that's a lot harder to achieve than 2 suppressed cards, because you can just go something like Dense Fog their Elestral they cast last turn, Artemis suppress a permanent they have on board, and boom, you've got a Necrolith, and you can just start popping that Elestral. That seems really good. Or even just ascend this regularly, kind of how you do with Arcolith that you're fine doing. Just ascend this and pop something. That's still really good. Our beta cards we're getting this month, I've kind of talked about this already. The ascend effect is interesting. I don't know how relevant it will be. It requires a bit of setup, but that search effect, got great search targets. I could see just trying to do Spectrus, Viscerus, and then the new Nobby line just to get a lot of great beaters as well. Aardvarm and Antenna I was talking about earlier as well. These ones are interesting, and I think they're actually quite interesting for sideboard options for Earth and Lunar. If your opponent is running a lot of Insectoids, Aardvarm just punishes them for that. And the honest entry to search out an Insectoid is also pretty good because it helps it fuel Anti and just start popping stuff. So I think this does have potential. I don't think it's main deck worthy, because if you're trying to set up yourself, meaning you have to pop your own Insectoid Celestial for Aardvarm, it's just not that ideal. You really want to be popping your opponent's stuff, not your own, because it's just putting you behind and gets super punished. But definitely some potential here. And the big thing I think about Ardbud and Aardvarm is, if we ever get an Insectoid card that isn't an Elestral, Artifact, Stadium, Divine, these will go hard. Because at that point, you have a card on field that has Insectoid trait, so you don't have to commit your normal cast to it or find a way to cheese it out. You can just play it for a turn alongside these and start going. So that's really cool. Clovey we know about. Cedar Soar. This one's really cool. When Cedar Soar is sent from your deck to your underworld, you can special cast it with Frost, or Earth, or Frost. So it has to be misenchanted, but still, like, if you're playing self-mill, what this means is you can just mill this one, you get a free 4/6 body on board. That's 2 spirits that helps you bridge up into stuff like the new Blizztrix. And you also can pair this with the Paleoth to be able to get it with Earth to bridge up into something like Centaur and Titan as well. Like, that's such cool application. I think the Blizztrix example is way better, way more applicable, but still really good. And then in the event that you do normal ascend into it, you can expend, or have it enchanted properly, you can expend Earth, in order to search your deck for a 3-cost Earth or Frost Celestial and add it to your hand. So that also gives you extra utility to be able to find it, which is quite interesting. Though I think most of the time you really just want to special cast it out off of a mill, which free body is a free body. It's not the biggest one, but for a free body, it's pretty good. Cactibrol and Cactibrum. These ones interest me. I don't know if they're good enough to make the cut, but they're certainly interesting. Cactibrol. Excuse me. Being able to disenchant from it to negate a counter is quite interesting. Get extra spirits on it through something like Nexus. You can start disrupting your opponent. It's a good payoff. I just don't know if we can really get it set up all that effectively for the payoff, or your opponent will just be able to disrupt it early. But at the same time, it does force it, so that's not too bad. And when you cast Sandstorm, you can special send into Cactibrum from hand or deck, which Sandstorm, not too bad with this combo here, I don't think. I think it's a bit better than the Hiboof stuff. This Cactibrum cannot be targeted by Invoke Rune, so it's a bit more obnoxious to deal with, especially if you have Cactibrol negating stuff. And when this Cactobrum receives 1 or more Earth, you can special cast a Cactobrawl from the Underworld. That's also neat, because then you can kind of set up this duo to just be super obnoxious where counter runes can't really touch them. Invoke runes kind of have to go here, or Electriflux have to go, or Invoke runes have to go here. Electriflux can go to both, but Invoke runes kind of have to go here because they can't affect the Cactobrum. My big thing is, with the counter rune suite, how realistically can you set this up to work? And do you need to? Because if you ascend into the Cactobrum, well, you need to get a Cactobrum in the Underworld, which if you have a body on board, send it, that's fine. But your opponent has a response window before the Cactoball can get out. Is that, like, to get Gorgon's Gazed, not Dense Fog, but Gorgon's Gazed, PTA'd as well. Like, your opponent just can respond to this, but is also that good enough because you still get the body back and you force the counter room before, and now you got this guy here to negate? Maybe, we'll see. Cell Shade, I think, is more of a gimmicky card. It's interesting, gets real big for milling. And when a player casts an Elestral, your opponent must send the top 3 cards of their deck to the Underworld, just kind of punch them, speeds it up. It's an interesting card. I don't think it's all that great, but I think it's interesting. I'm not much of a mill player either, so I'll let the mill players talk more about this one. Bellowbee, Wind Fire support, gets +1 attack for each Wind Fire Elestral, so this one's inherently a 3/1, a 3 attack Elestral. And let's see, Fire, Wind, and Channel Elestrals are unaffected by counter runes. It's an active effect that lets you give the Fire or Wind Elestral the ability to be immune to counter runes. This could be interesting. I think it's more niche, but interesting nonetheless, because if you get a cool big thing established and get it to stick for a turn, you can pass this out and make it immune to counter runes, so maybe just don't attack until you can get this out. That being said, though, again, with the current counter rune suite, I think most of the time, and how the game currently is, I don't know how likely you are to really stick it. And if you do stick it, if you really need that counter rune immunity, but maybe it's possible. And for next, Fire Wind is a cool one. Spend Wind in order to return an opponent's card to their hand. When you cast an Elestral or Rune with at least Fire or Wind, you can give this Infernax +2 attack until the end phase. So it can start just kind of attacking. Also, it has a big body, just bouncing stuff back and being obnoxious. Okay. I don't think it's the craziest card, but it's not terrible. I don't know if you'll necessarily see competitive play, but maybe. Maybe you just need that. Torchin, this one's funny. Little Torch bro here. When this Torchin declares an attack, you can return Fire Spirits from your Underworld to your Spirit deck up to the number of enchanting fire on your field. So this is a big recovery. I don't know if it's good enough for Fire, but I mean, if you're fine giving up a turn just to swing this in and heal a ton, sure. Or if you have an open field, just heal a ton, sure. But this is more card, but let's be here. It's more so here because of the Elestriad, and it's friggin' adorable. Elestriad, dude, exactly. Fire like Seal, I just don't think it wants to use this normal cast for a 1/1 to get it. Schnark, my boy Schnark. I love this card here. So, I brew on my desk. I'm really low on the camera. I just realized that. Search your deck for Elestral with enchantment cost of, or not even Elestral, a card with enchantment cost of Water and Lunar, and add to hand. I love this kind of search. It just gives so much consistency, and we've got a ton of Water Lunar stuff. Of course, we've got Ascension Joblin. We've got the Drak King as well, which we skipped over here. Drak King, Rock and Hard Place meets this. We got a new rune this set, Tsunami High Tide. Absolutely love this. It just gives you so much consistency to find those pieces. Sure, the body isn't that great, but you don't care about that. You're really just trying to set up for a ton of stuff, and I think there's just enough cards here that synergize together as well to put something together, like a Water Lunar deck, which I'm 100% going to test and try out because I love Drak King. I think I said when I was opening Shattered Stars, that was a card I had a lot of impact from in testing and development because I was primarily tasked with testing it. So I have a soft spot for that one, and just to see even more support to be able to let it exist is so exciting. So exciting. Absolutely just phenomenal. Yeah, I can just see you, if you can get the Schnark to stick on board, or even if you just have Tadpuff, you got Tadpuff for Ascension ramping, you just see which kind of Water Lunar card you're missing. You can just search it out with Schnark. Got Joblin in hand? Cool. Grab High Tide to start swapping stuff and drawing cards. If you have an Eddie or a Drakid in hand, just search out Rock and Hard Place to Ascension ramp next turn. Just so much versatility with this card. Joblin also is looking pretty strong as well. An 8/4, 8, that's a big attack stat. I think the second effect's more appealing when one or more of Elestrals are change their positions. You can draw a card. That's really good. Just kind of start refueling, drawing more resources. And then, of course, you can spend water to change an Elestral's position that is not water enchanted. So that immediately translates to expend one to draw a card, but also has application to switch Elestrals to more easily attack over it as well, which is nice. So and especially with the new High Tide, there's enough position swapping stuff that I could just see establishing a Joblin once you have all that and just drawing a ton of cards. If it sticks as well, this is what's real scary. If it sticks, Eddie next turn, swap, draw a card. It's really good. That's really nice. Just a great resource refill. Because what it also potentially allows you to do is, and I think this is going to be my focus, try to get Joblin out, start drawing into more cards. They spend resources to answer this one to stop you from getting more resources. Use those more resources to be able to just start a Sentry Ramping to like Curabus, Draking, and just keep pressuring your opponent even more. Oyster's weird. Know about Oystillery, excuse me. This one's a cool one. This Oystillery in your hand can be special sending from Oysters if you also just get water from your field. So just like the Pulveror, this one does not create a chain, meaning your opponent can't Gorgon's Gaze the Oysteress in response to it. It has to preemptively read that you have the Oystillery you're trying to go to and then Gorgon's Gaze it. So that's pretty neat. 4/8, not bad stat line. And you can discard a water card in order to target and destroy a card. That's just a good effect. I think the weakest part about this is you have to go from Oysteress, and Oysteress is not that great of a card. It's a 1/4 on its own. I'd rather play Plucky if I was going to get a 1/4. But that actually does lend some credence to be able to play this Oysteress here, just to be able to set up and start popping cards on a big body and just you get immediate value and then force your opponent to answer it. And we got the Star Bits here. This one's kind of a goofy combination. Plus you attack for each water enchanting it, so it's a 3 attack at a basis. If you can nexus up to it, you can make it a 5 attack or a 7 attack, except once it hits 7 attack, just like the Cryoling, you must ascend it or send it to the underworld, and you send it into Starbit Supernova. So just kind of changing forms here. That's kind of what it's capturing. Let's be real, you're casting this out intending to go into Starbit Supernova. And Supernova cannot be normal cast, so it has to be special ascended off of the Starbit or special cast by other means. So actually, funny enough, you can Rise from the Depths it. Interesting concept. When you special cast this Starbit with another Starbit's effect, it gains the effect. If this Starbit would be destroyed, you may first you may Nexus all spirits from it, and if you do, draw a card, then destroy it. So essentially, this is just a big attacker that gets out there, can start a poking, and then if your opponent tries to answer it, of course, you've nexted a ton of spirits onto it, so like those stadium bonuses, damage pressure. But once you get all that, if your opponent actually has a way to answer it, you are able to just kind of throw all those spirits elsewhere to preserve them, so you're not losing out on any spirits, and you also replace it, which is kind of nice. It means your opponent has to find a way to suppress it or just bypass that effect by bouncing it, which really there are ways, but at the same time, it's nice to make it a bit more difficult. It's a fun little gimmick. I think it'll be fun to play. I don't expect to be super good, but I expect to be interesting. And what I mentioned about the Rise from the Depths combo also intrigues me because you kind of already want to run Stadium since it has so many spirits to just be big. But once this gets answered, sure, it won't have its effect, but you could just Rise from the Depths a 7 attacker. That seems pretty good to me, except it'll be 8 because of it. So, ideas there to test out. Electrify. Yeah, I said it right. Disenchant Thunder from this Electrify in order to search your deck for 1 Spirit Thunder Electron out to hand. Interesting consistency. With the new Magnaros, a new Nexus card, this is a great way to just kind of search out some of your more of your Thunder pieces. I don't know if it will make the cut, like, is normal cast this Disenchant enough? Do you need to combo it with stuff? If you need to combo stuff, you already found pieces, so you need the search. These are all questions I have for this card that we'll see. Electronite, another Lunar tie-in, so you can Nexus Thunder or Lunar, and this, when it receives 1 or more Thunder, you can special cast and Electrify from your hand or deck. Excuse me, when you activate your Electrify's effect, you can draw a card. So this makes Electrify a bit more worth it. So you just ascend into this and start nexusing and casting out your Electrifies and get more searches, more draws. That's kind of interesting. But again, you need to stick a body on board to be able to ascend into the Electronite to be able to start doing that. So this is really the best way to start digging for your deck, or would you rather stay low to the ground to find pieces instead of trying to pinpoint search? So that's my question with this card. Interesting concept. We'll see how it plans out and see what people do with it. Titanium Strike, we already know about. Interest card, we just need more ways to access Thunderstorm, in my opinion, to make this like super worth it, but it's actually quite threatening. Magnaros, the new Nexus error. So you can Nexus Thunder. When you do, you foretell cards equal to the number of Thunder enchanting cards on your field and add 1 Thunder Invoke rune foretold this way to your hand. So great consistency card. You also lose out on nothing if you do with it, which is also nice. But we also got some great Thunder Invoke runes. The one of those limited, but we still got some. Hurricane. Search out Hurricane. Yeah, 1 Thunder Invoke rune. That's how it's rated. And just reorganize top of your deck. But of course, the real appeal is that we're also just going to be triggering like Rabbit effects and other receive effects to set up with it. So, I'll find it interesting to see how Thunder does after this, because a lot of the pieces have been hit, and Magnus does help it. Thankfully, it is more defensive in nature, which I think does bode a bit better. Windgen. This one's another cool one. Receive Wind. You can name name a card to foretell 3 if 1 or more cards with the same name are foretold this way. You can add 1 of them to hand, especially in this Windgen Tornado from hand or deck. This one's quite interesting. It's kind of gimmicky, but also the payoff's not bad. If you can name a card, Solar's got plenty of ways to do it. It's just kind of like a fun gimmicky that actually probably can work. Don't think it'll be super meta, but I think it will be a fun locals deck you can bring. Tornado, just an 8 attacker. I think that's the biggest appeal. You can expend Wind or Solar to search your deck for 3 cards with different names and add 1 at random. That's not bad. Just choose 3 that you absolutely want. You get 1 of them at random. Not terrible, but I think mainly the big thing is just it's a big attacker that you can special send into, which is kind of cool. I think we're still got so much more to go. My throat's killing me. I'm going to be honest. We're going to get through it. Carry off. This engine to carry on. When it's destroyed in battle, you can special cast this carry. Or when a carry on is destroyed in battle, you can special cast carry off from your hand. You can spend Lunar in order to target an opponent's celestial control of it until the end phase. Very thematic. I don't know if it's the best overall. It's an interesting effect. It can bring itself out. But yeah, the widget seems so fun. It does seem very fun. But yeah, this one, I don't know. Like, it's got some interesting stuff. Carry off being destroyed. You can just bring this out. You steal a thing until the end phase, though. I guess the awkward thing is if you crash your own carry off, it's probably telegraphing you might have a carry off in hand, so they might answer it, but you're still baiting an answer, which isn't bad. But even if you do get it out, before you can even use this effect, your opponent can answer it. So I don't know. If your opponent answers it, you bring it out. So they might want something out. So that's a tough thing, because then in that example here, that's the best chance to use carry off's effect, where likely you just want to siphon off the Elestral and get rid of it anyway, unless you're going to win. But then you have to like cast carry on and just let it get outed by your opponent. I don't know if that's that good. I will find it interesting to see what people think, because like this is a cool concept. Steal your opponent's Celestial. It's a really cool effect. Don't know how viable it'll be, unfortunately, but people will cook. I can't wait to see what they come up with. The final lith here, Aviolith. Yeah, I think it's requires a bit too much to go your way to be able to use it from a competitive sense, but I definitely think it's good enough to be a really good fun card. Like, I definitely don't think it's unplayable by any means. This is another one that, unfortunately, being paired up alongside Hurricane gets hurt. Since your opponent needs 2 face orange to cast it, will they do that? Again, maybe an interesting side deck card if your opponent gets a bit bold. But if you're already in wind, here's the other thing. If you're already in wind, the opponent might respect Hurricane and not do that. But draw a card for each face on your opponent has. That's a pretty good effect. Again, I just think it's coming out at the wrong time. And despite the dynamic with Hurricane, I mean, maybe you could make the call of side an Aviolith and Hurricane, use Aviolith to dig for Hurricane. But the other awkward part about that is you're actively turning off your Aviolith if you get Hurricane first. And then your opponent's not playing it. So I just don't think, unfortunately, I think this card is a good effect into Daybreak and before. Like, this could be an insane effect. And would have kind of that dynamic that, at least for wind, that Hurricane I think will have, where if you're up against wind, like, you might not respect it in game 1, you can benefit it, and game 2 your opponent will start respecting the Aviolith, but you just side it out because your opponent's respecting it. Let's be real, I don't think ascending into this is going to be worth it for a draw for a 4/6, but yeah, you have that dynamic here, but that's just completely lost with Hurricane, because would I rather run the Aviolith if my opponent isn't respecting Hurricane to draw a ton of cards, or would I rather just run the Hurricane to punch them for doing that? I think you'd rather just run the Hurricane. Frost, Snowlit. Snowlit's here. Receive 4 more Frost. You can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the Underworld. Mill support. This is great. I've been saying I think Frost just needed a 1-cost mill starter to be able to get that stuff going, and Snowlit is it. Warlith, way more interesting because it's an interesting extender. It just needed this starter here. So now you've got Avalanche and Snowlit start triggering stuff. And of course you guys Ascension line, which is really interesting. Being able to ascend from the previous form if it's milled. And then of course Aspral lets you mill more, try to dig. You're really just trying to ramp up into this Blizztrix. And of course Blizztrix can just start returning Elestrals to the bottom of your deck to destroy cards. So this is a phenomenal payoff. And I expect this to be just, I don't know if it will be a very good deck, because I don't expect it to be the most consistent on account of you're relying on your mills. But I expect it to be a super fun deck, just because milling's fun. Being able to do random stuff like this is great. So like, watch out for this. People are definitely going to be playing this regardless if it's good or not. And who knows, maybe it is consistent enough to be good, but I don't expect it. I think we need a lot more mill support to get like a good mill deck going, but like this is the bare bones it needs to be like playable and just super fun. So I'm excited. I'm definitely going to be playing this deck. And then Scorpio form. When cast, you can discard more Frost in order to target an opponent's Celestial size base defense to 0 until end phase. During your turn's end phase, you can spend Frost in order to destroy that Celestial. I think most of the time you're just going to be attacking over it anyway and not really using it for that destruction effect, but it also means that if your opponent has like a Tsunami to interrupt your attacks, you get to destroy it anyway and deal with it, which is kind of nice. And the other reason I really like this card is with Bat form. My biggest issue with Bat form into this set was, or Daybreak, was that there was no good way to discard it to trigger its effect. Like, it's a good effect, but there wasn't enough enablers to really make use of it. Because Terror is situational use. Your opponent's just not going to trigger something to trigger Terror, most likely. But finally, we got a proactive way to do it, and that's a really good effect to be able to do that. I think it just adds some nice utility to the Morfrost package. Don't know if it makes, I don't think it makes Morfrost better than it is, or it does make it better. I don't think it necessarily raises it in terms of its meta standing at all. I don't think this card does enough to do that. It's just keeping it up and with the current power level as it scales up each set after set. Solar with Kakare cannot be suppressed. Pretty cool. And when you activate First Light, you can special this Kakare into Draco Ray from your hand or deck. So the reason it's worded that way is because if you were to, when you cast First Light, you would undo the effect of the First Light. You stack a card to the top of your deck, but then Kakarae's effect triggers, you go and find Draco Ray, you have to shuffle up and you lose it. So by triggering on activation, now you resolve Kakare first, search your card, ascend, shuffle up, and then you get the First Light searched and stack, which is good. More Ascension ramping. I really like this. And Draco Ray is quite nice. Just for that first effect, when you cast this Draco Ray, you can return Solar from your Underworld to your Spirit deck. That's some great recovery. Ascension ramp into recovery. I really like it. I like that Solar has that utility. He wants to run First Light. It's just another card that triggers off a First Light. Draco Ray's second effect. During your draw phase, you spend Fire in order to special into Draco Ray Dragalis. That's niche at best. It's nice to have, but most of the time will probably be answered before then. And Draco Ray isn't that insane that I think you might even want to go for this effect. I think it's perfectly simple to just run Kakare Draco Ray and just do the Ascension ramp with that. Kind of similar to how Nabi Nabi, Doppelgator, and Cryoling Cryovern have done. But Dragalis, spend Fire in order to suppress each phase up card in your opponent's field until the end phase, and chant Solar from your Spirit deck and or Underworld to this Dragalis up to the number of cards suppressed this way. This isn't bad. It's more ways to pull back spirits. It's a big beater. 13 attack also ain't bad. So it's a decent card. I just don't know if you necessarily need to go that big with this or just stay these two are enough. I think that's the big question here. But I could see running kind of how you do this Cryo Scourge. I don't know if that's quite optimal, but I don't think it's necessarily wrong either. Armadon is one I'm really excited for. Changes position, expend. That's an obnoxious 6 attacker. And on top of that, where I really like it is with the Water Lunar position swap deck, unsurprisingly. Because if I can just sit on an Armadon and then start just swapping its position with all my position change cards, I can just start burning my opponent for a ton, and it will be obnoxious. Opponent attacks into it, Tsunami, switch Armadon back. I'm happy. It doesn't necessarily synergize with getting up into those, but it's really just the payoff just to be obnoxious. So I quite like it. And in general, I think this is just kind of an obnoxious defensive card because what's the premier way now that a lot of removal has been limited to out big bodies like this? Yeah, you ramp up above it, but you have to commit resource that typically. But the other way, the more efficient way, has been position swapping with stuff like Eddy and Mudlet. And, well, this actively punishes you for doing that. So I really like this Armadon. Gardon is an interesting one. Unless you get +2 defense, big defensive body. When your opponent activates an effect that targets one or more of your runes, you can expend a Solar in order to negate that effect. You're likely never going to get that effect off. It's just telling your opponent you really can't target my runes. I don't think we have any like crazy runes that absolutely love Gardon being able to do that. Especially since you have to specifically target runes. But that's fine, Thunderstorm. I think we just need better runes, like more build-around runes, to make Gardon like really worth it. And I just don't think the Divines are quite it. I just don't think they're quite crucial enough to warrant this. This could be interesting in the future. Luxemere is completely here for fun thematics. When an opponent takes control of this Luxemere, you can special cast an AO Still from your hand or deck. So you pair this with the Cutting Offer, which gives your opponent an Elestral. So you give this to your opponent. It lets you cast out the AO Stale, and AO Stale takes advantage of that. Because when it's cast, you get to foretell 3, and you may special cast a 1 Spirit Solar Elestral foretold this way. So you just get to, you give your opponent Elestral. Hey, I get a 6/6 and another one from top 3. Cool. Very gimmicky. Very much so. But kind of fun. It's fun. It doesn't necessarily need to be good. It's just fun. Normally it's a 4/5. Another 4/5, which is kind of interesting. Artemis we known about. Good utility. Bow of Artemis deals piercing and can Nexus when it attacks. That could be interesting because what you can... Okay. No, it doesn't meet timing. Yeah, it's a bit awkward. I was thinking you could go Navi, Doppelganger attack, Argo, get out the bow, but bow would miss timing to Nexus to Doppelganger to go to full Corex. It's interesting. I just think that there isn't, like, it's just not enough damage to be, it's not big enough damage to be worth it. But it's a 1-cost artifact of note, which can be relevant. Get your Herpetology theming on point, absolutely. Maybe if we get some more, like, receive effects I want to trigger on attack, this could be a lot better. And there's potential in it, I just don't think there's anything that really likes this. I think the most interesting thing is it's a 1-cost artifact, meaning it's cheap for Nexus Bank stuff. That's it. Alright, now we get to the lunar phases. So remember, Voldusk, wherever you cast a lunar phase lets you draw a card or heal one up to twice per turn. So now I got the lunar phase of what they do. New Moon, target an Elestral on the field and suppress until the end phase. You may expend lunar in order equal to that target card's enchantment cost and discard a lunar phase to destroy it. So removal tool, and of course the expend cost can be refunded. You can draw back a card with the Voldusk. That's good. It's a removal option. We've been losing out on those, so having another one specifically for that deck is nice. Waxing Crescent, target a lunar enchantment Elestral gets +1 for each lunar phase in the Netherworld. It's a battle trick, but it requires a lot of setup. So in the late game, quite nice. But other than that, I don't know if it's that crazy. Lunar phase first quarter, counter rune, draw a card. That's quite nice. And then with Voldusk, draw 2. I like it. That's independently good and made even better if you pair it with the Voldusk. And you may discard a lunar phase to return a Voldusk, Volumbra and Volclips from your underworld to your hand. So recur some resources as well. Super versatile. I like it. Waxing Givus, target a lunar Elestral and change its position. So it's kind of like situational alter. I guess if you need to switch your Voldusk back to defense. It just seems a bit too situational. You'll still run it because it's a title, or potentially run it if it's a title, especially if you're going for Volclips, but effect isn't too crazy. And you may expend a lunar and discard lunar phase. If you do target an Elestral, it cannot be destroyed by card effect once this turn. That's probably the more appealing part, but again, that's kind of situational. So, maybe as a one of, just to get the lunar phase and the title. Full Moon, this one's the crazy one. Enchant lunar from Elestral your field. When the lunar phase is discarded by another lunar phase, you can foretell 3. Foretell 3, not too relevant, not too bad, though. It's a nice bonus, but really the enchant lunar to Elestral on your field, that's a real draw for this card. Helps with Ascension ramping, extra damage, stadium buffs, you name it. This is going to be a good card. I think the only thing keeping it from being too crazy is the fact that it's a counter rune. Waning Gibbous, shuffle lunar phase, Volumbra, or Volclips from your hand or underworld into your deck in order to search your deck for a Voldusk and add hand. Great consistency card. Absolutely love it. Just find your Voldusk. Of course, you kind of want your Voldusk out already, but Since you're having to shuffle back a lunar phase, you need like 3 lunar phases in hand, but you're running so many of these, you might just have it. Final quarter. Search your deck for up to 2 lunar phases, send them to Underworld. While this lunar phase is discarded by another lunar phase effect, you return lunar from your Underworld to your Spirit deck. I think this is like the ideal discard target because it refunds your lunar phases. The mill is specifically relevant for Volclips. Other than that, I don't think it's like independently of Volclips isn't that great. And because of that, I don't know if you really run it just for that discard effect. But I think you'd rather just run all the good ones that have good on-play effect. If you're not committing to the full lunar phase package, but just pick out the best ones, I think you would rather just run all the ones with good effects and just discard whichever one you need the least. Waning Crescent, return lunar to your Underworld from your Spirit deck. When this lunar phase is discarded by another lunar phase effect, you can draw a card and discard a card. This one's great on both halves. Heal, it's just a mini Ambrosia or weaker Ambrosia. That's still good. It turns into Ambrosia with a Voldusk if you return a Spirit, or you just draw a card. And then when it's discarded, just cycle a card. That's also amazing. Some Moon Stay, nothing much to say. Divine Healing. This could be interesting, but like to refuel your divines. But I think most decks are fine just searching out additional copies to reload them anyway. I would be curious to see if this is run as kind of a 4th, 5th, and 6th copy of Ambrosia in divine decks, and then they just siphon off of it for runes. That's the other application I can see. We'll see. Spoiled Fruit, decent side deck card. If your opponent is getting out of hand with Spirit Manipulation, just deal with it. I think it's nice to have. No Stone Unturned, help you find golems. Right now, the appealing ones are the Lits. I think that could be quite interesting, but we also got some other stuff. So, interesting consistency card. It being an Earth could limit things, but also Earthquake, it's not too bad. And I think it's just really, is there Golem Elestrals you want to search out? Is the Lavalith and the Arclith the best to search out? You want to run to Earth? We'll see. But again, paired with Earthquake in your main deck, that's not bad. You got either go No Stone Unturned or an Earthquake. Tsunami High Tide. I love this card. Change up to 2 Elestrals positions. They may enchant water or lunar from your Underworld to your field. So this really just costs 1, but it has the benefit of being able to trigger receive effects, set up for Nexus plays. Swapping 2 Elestrals positions on an Invoke is great because now you can start pressuring your opponent's stuff. Or if your opponent, I don't know, you've got something that lets... This, I don't think it's too relevant for water, but in theory, if you ever get something that starts targeting back row, your opponent chains a Tsunami. Oh, well, you're in water, so never mind, that's a bad example. If you're not in water, this one can help set you up to protect against Tsunami or switch yours back if it gets Tsunami. Like a niche application, but I think the big thing is also, it's just an Invoke position swap, which is very interesting with stuff like the Armadon and the Joblin. Great utility card. I absolutely love it. Magnetic Force Field, just counter burn card. Burn hasn't been too common and quite interesting. It's just like, all right, you try to burn me, you get burned instead. But then you have to line it up with a burn. There just isn't enough burn, I think, for this card to be relevant. We'll see. It might be one of those that just might be, unfortunately, a bit too situational, and you can't expect it to line up just right, even against burn to run. Because let's be real, if burn gets enough of cards where this card's consistently proccing, we probably have bigger problems. Hurricane already talked about. Aurora Borealis, discard a card for hand in order to enchant Frost from your Underworld to your field and return a Frost from your Underworld to your Spirit deck. Just trigger a bunch of discard synergies. It is a counter rune, which does have some interesting applications. Will it be high relevant? We'll see. But just trigger receive effects, like Catarant, to turn this into Ambrosia. Do we have enough discard synergies to warrant it as well? That's the other thing. A lot of potential for this card to do a lot of interesting stuff. It's just, do we have the payoff and the way to set it up to make it worthwhile? Cunning Offer, let's be real, this card is terrible. You give your opponent an Elestral. When Elestral's dry value, must expend your opponent, because they're the one that receives Elestral. 3 spirits. I mean, that's fine, but if you don't answer the Elestral immediately, your opponent just can ascend over it and get out of that anyway. This is exactly good if you're giving Luxomare, pretty much. But again, just like Luxomare, it's for the thematics. It's fine. It's all for the thematics. Helios' Slumber, target Elestral in your Underworld, put it on top of your deck. It's counter rune. It feels a bit slow. Like, I just don't see any practical reason to do this. Like, the only thing I can think of is if you need to get one of the owls back on top of your deck right now. But like, it's a counter rune, so it's super slow. I don't like this card too much. I think it really would need to be an Invoke rune to be all that interesting. I just think it's too slow. But I guess there's also the application of your opponent runs over one of your Elestrals, you flip this up, put it back top check, you get a top deck draw. Maybe. But I don't know if you want to run a card for that. So that is all the unique Elestrals. There's a ton of interesting stuff here. Like I think the highlights are the Navi Doppelgator, with Ardbud, Insectoid package. Gotta love interesting Ascension ramp stuff in Lunar. Even the 3 costs I think are pretty interesting. It's just a matter of building around them. The Suppression package is really interesting. Pulveroar, really cool card. Cedar Soar, big self-mill stuff along with the Owls and Frost. Nothing too much from Fire that really stands out to me. Water, Stark Joblin all the way. Even though Australia seems cool. Starbit stuff seems fun. I'm also biased towards water, so of course I'm playing on all the water stuff. This one is scary in premise. We'll see if it actually pans out. Nexus are finally for Thunder. Really cool gimmick here. And Owls already talked about. Scorpio's nice. Ascension Ramp Solar, really excited for these two. Armadon for the position swap is also cool. And all the Lunar Face stuff, that's what I'm trying to say. No Stone Unturned is an interesting consistency card. Good side deck card. Position swap. And potentially game warping card that might be game warping and never see play. So that's all the cards. Let's kind of go over. Let's see the Reverse Stellars. It's all the Lunar Face stuff. Havoc Bandaloon. Serialized Stellars. Ardbud. Adorable. Belleby. Starbit. Carry off a lot of great stuff in here. Gloombat. Cryptoris is cool. Toxicity. There's a lot of good stuff. Of course, Nabi. Fawnlet. Fulgorix. Oh, I love it. What was I thinking of? So Elestral I said earlier I thought might have a Stellar form. I think I was confusing it with Gloombat. Artiborable. I can't keep track of them all, I'm going to be honest. But yeah, Stellar's look cool, of course. And finally, the starter decks. Yeah, it does. It really does. Starter decks. This one, I mean, we've got Ascension Ramp here. Ascension Ramp. Got a Searcher. That's probably the weakest part. Extra Burn. Like, this deck has a lot of aggressive tools that I think are going to be really interesting. I don't know if there's enough backward for Gloombat, I'm going to be honest with these. What else do we got here? Aeola Splash is interesting. Like, the fact that you can literally just pressure the opponent with, like, Navi Doppelgator, Pulveroar, and then just burn for game, I think is interesting. In terms of the generics, Ultra Star is great. Poison Depth Arrow, great. Interesting how Divine Healing does. But those two, great reprints yet again. And then for the Possumous one, I think this one, the suppression stuff's really what's interesting with Toxiri, Knifem, Spectrus. This stuff's fine to grab the Artemis. But I think that's the real draw here is these 3 guys. And unfortunately, they cannot be searched out with Comalis. But then Viscerus, great. Moss Station, Ardbud. So you just get to pressure. Like, oh, yeah, that's the real core. Ardbud, you can grab your aggressive Earth guys. You can grab your Toxeries, your Spectres. That's really a draw for me. I think that's really solid in here. With the possible stuff just kind of being fun on the top. And what else do we got? Dense Fog, Earthquake, nice. PTA, Gorgon's Gaze, oh, love those. So starter decks, I think this kind of continues the quality from the Chronodile and Ferrogeist. I love the addition of more kind of options just to kind of show off, because let's be real. So I'm covering the, like, I think the standout cards that are, like, really good that you can evolve these decks from. In terms of teaching you the game, this does a lot. Gloombat's a great card to kind of teach players to evaluate back row. Is this really worth it? You've got, of course, the key line here, some side stuff that really helps out, some good consistency cards. Like, this deck offers a lot, so I think it really does a lot of what the Chronodile and Faraday decks do, and just amplifies it even more to be even more interesting by adding those, like, extra ascensions, just to give players a good breadth of what there is to offer in Elestrals. And these focuses on, like, little card packages such as Aggro, Navi, Doppelgator, Pulveroar, and all the Insectoid stuff, I think are just great building blocks you can then swap cards out from the main set to just be able to build out more. So good starter decks. I like them. But yeah, closing thoughts. I'm just excited. Like, there seems to be a lot of interesting stuff again in this deck, in this set. In this set, a lot of cool new ideas to explore ways to evolve decks, and that's really what these first, other than introducing Frost, Solar, and Lunar, that's really what these first four sets have really felt like. Is it just takes what's been set up in base set, or the sets the elements originate from, and just build upon them, and that's really exciting to see. It really is. And hopefully like this feels like a complete 4 sets after this one, where all the elements have something kind of distinguished that it can do, and really feels like they can kind of come into their own. We'll see. Obviously some elements will be better than others. We'll see how Thunder does with the new Magnaros edition. Earth, I think, is the best one off of here with the Ardbud, just really bringing some stuff together. And Lunar, it's got some interesting stuff. Hopefully they got enough to come together as well. I guess maybe final thing we can do here. Owls, Frost. Yeah, there's just a lot of great stuff in here that I think it evolves these decks reasonably. With probably the standouts maybe probably being like Earth and Lunar. But I think let's go through this. Let's all people doing this. I like this. A rating for 1 through 5 for each of the elements. Completely subjective. Don't take this too seriously. Lunar, I think, is probably from a support wave I think this is tough. I think within the set, it's a 5 out of 5. It gets a lot of really powerful concepts and ideas. Kind of teetering on 4 just because it is one support wave, so likely there are going to be some gaps once we get into deck building that will need to be resolved with future sets. It's just kind of tough building a brand new deck out of a set when every other element has had at least one other set of support. That being said, though, like, it's a really good, I think it's a phenomenal support wave just to get it off the ground. A lot of interesting stuff to play with, so I'll be nice to give it a 5 out of 5. Earth, I think it's a 5 out of 5 as well. Ardbud's insane. I think these are interesting. Cedar Sword for self-mill. Like, we've got a bunch of stuff here that is very interesting. I think Fire is the real letdown here. I'm going to have to give this probably a 2 out of 5. Nothing really appeals to me here. This might bring it up, but I just don't think so. I think, unfortunately, Fire's the loser this set. Water, biased, 5 out of 5, because this looks awesome. Oyster is interesting. This one's gimmicky, but that's fine. The runes also make it amazing with High Tide. Thunder. I think this has potentially a 5 out of 5, depending on how the Electro and Electrify pan out. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 right now, just the next is super important. Oh, and Hurricane. Wind. I have to give it a 3 out of 5 just because it's all just kind of gimmicky stuff, and it really hurts. It's coming out set too late. Frost, 5 out of 5. All 4 of these are great cards, and I think this has some potential as well. And finally, Solar, I'll give a 4 out of 5. I think these are interesting additions. They don't revolutionize the deck. These 2 slots here might have been able to be used just to really elevate the deck, but that's fine. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. But overall, I think it's a really good set. I think this is, I keep saying this, I think Elestrals keeps on improving set after set, and I think this is a testament to it. And really all I can say is I'm just super excited. So let me get Goblin Chat here. So excited to see the evolution after Moonrise, especially now that all the elements will be out and have plenty of cards to play with. I want to see where Lunar goes as an element. Yeah, for sure. Because it really is just completing the 4 sets, and we'll see what happens next. I'm super excited as well. It's like, this is the, what's a good comparison to make? This feels like the, what's what I'm looking for? Prologue. The prologue to Elestrals, where we've got everything established. Let's see where it goes from here, because it's going to be an exciting run, for sure. I've been drying out for hours. For sure. I really like the Frostwork, because I was looking through the, not the Moonrise, the Daybreak support again. Let me find it. Rhine and Insect, really cool stuff. Does have a place, but also not like exceptional, and it's kind of its own thing. Brumlinks is a nice Nexus, Frost Nexus. It still feels like it's missing some stuff, but it's an interest effect. 5 Defender's nice. Batform really just felt like it needed Scorpio. That's the big thing. And Pulsar is interesting as a big beater, but again, it just felt like this gave Frost some side grade stuff. And then these were mainly Pulsar and Brumlinks felt more like good, like decent cards, but didn't really give Frost what it needed. Like, it didn't really patch up what felt like was missing from its first support wave. It just kind of doubled down on some of the stuff it did. Cryoblast is insane, though. That was probably the best Frost card from the set. And, like, even comparing it to now... Oh, I didn't do that. Solar gains second support wave here. I feel like the Solar support wave is, like, just a lot stronger than the Frost support wave, the second Frost support wave was. Armadon just feels like such an independently, like, decent card. And then this meshes in perfectly with what the deck's already doing. And in fact, I love the heal on this one just to get back those spirits, because Solar can be quite expensive. But this feels great. Yeah. Really excited to see where things go. All right, I think that's about all I have to say. I can tell my voice is starting to go. So I think we're going to head out after that. Thank you for all of you who came to hang out. I enjoyed talking about Moonrise. It'll be fun. I feel like I did discuss Daybreak, but I don't think I did as much as what I did today with it. With Moonrise, that is. So maybe with Moonrise specifically, I'll do like a retrospect on it. Because, I mean, I guess that's something about it. Let's just go over it. I say I'm done, I'm not. Daybreak. Retrospect on Daybreak. I think Solar definitely had I think a comparable showing to Frost debut. It got its basis, it's got its identity. It's got some really interesting cards in power play. It's got a foundation of which to build off of, and it's solid. And I think it's unique enough from Frost. However, I just feel like this just didn't quite capture the power level of what exactly it needed. Got the identity, but there's some pain points with that identity that needs to be ironed out. Still needs to be done, but that's fine. For support wave, I think it was solid. It was good. It got people thinking, got people playing. I remember for a hot bit, short bit, people were thinking that Celestia was absolutely insane. Yeah, I think it was good. Just needs some more support, but the boom box are there. Tease of Lunar is whatever. Earth. Yeah, I see in the chat there because of the delay. Yeah, I decided I'm going to quickly talk about that. I was like, I'm going to do it. Just the retrospect. Earth, Mother, like, it got some interesting tools, but it felt like it was mostly supporting 3 different ideas, with Mudlet just being the best evolution of it. Burn in Earth, but also there's not too much burn, so it really helps more just run this in the Krakatuga burn. Barabib. I'm surprised this one didn't really do more. Just the burn seems kind of obnoxious as spam runes, but oh, you know what it was? It was the Drataya ban. Like, let's be real, that hurt this card's playability there. So it ended up just being Mudlet. So unfortunately, Earth one kind of left a bit to be desired. Just felt like the concept of Explore just didn't have enough support to really back these up. Fire, I felt like the Fire Wave was good. Mill, I'm not too much Mill, so I'm not going to talk about it. Fun little package here, the Fungi Bronto Wisp to be introduced, though unfortunately with Fire, I felt like it kind of needed more towards its core mechanic instead of being taken off in another direction. However, Rummacle, Scavicle, mainly the Rummacle and Astrap, I feel like just such a great addition to Fire that really helped define its basis. The artifact stuff definitely helped out. So this, I felt like, ended up being better than I anticipated. Love a good retrospective, yeah. I feel like, especially Astrap, like these two, I feel like were the MVPs for Fire. And the issue with these 2 cards is more so to do with Fire than these 2 cards in and of itself. Water, Eddie, insane. Just really adding to Water just being a great utility element. Kerberos is nice as well. It really isn't used for its effect, but essentially ramp big guy. It's good. Porcutide, this one, I feel like Water just needs a better basis, but I could see like a fun Porcutide just stall deck. Still not amazing. And Coastlift, unfortunately, I think leaves a bit to be desired. My boy, it looks amazing. Love this card. Unfortunately, I just think it's too linear in what it does and a bit too hard to meet its condition. Just ideally, you just cast this with like Galaxy and start swinging in, but that's a bit hard to set up. Could you imagine this is also cast from Underworld? I feel like that would have been awesome. So overall, like Water, I guess I should go to the runes. Does anything really change? Earth, Bloom. I just feel like we need more payoff. This card could be crazy. Fire. Oh, Don't Poke the Bear. So Fire also got Don't Poke the Bear, which is great for bears. This is a great power card that I think would be interesting to add more of. Kind of these kind of power cards for decks to really building them out. So Fire, good on that front. I was on Water. Rock in a Hard Place is a nice card. It's not insane, but I think it is nice. So all in all, I think Water had some good... It just proved more why it's a splash element. It didn't really elevate what the core deck does, unfortunately. But still some interesting cards. So I guess going back to my ratings, probably like Solar's probably like a 4 out of 5. Good start. Earth is probably like a 2 out... yeah, 2 out of 5, but mostly because the ban. 3 out of 5 without the ban because of our bib. And then Fire, I would give probably a 4 out of 5 as well. Got some good key cards. Water, I would say give it a 3 out of 5 in retrospect because it just really held up by Eddie. That's really what it was. Didn't really elevate, I think, Water as an element all that much. Just kind of gave other decks a good utility card. Thunder. The Bears, yes, the Bears. See, you can tell how delayed the chat is by how I'm responding to chat. Thunder. Unfortunately, I think the Larvital line left much to be desired. As cool as it is, it just turns out Arlo is better. Like Thunder, I would say in retrospect, do we get any runes? No, we're not getting Thunder runes. Is a 3 out of 5, with the only thing bringing it up to a 3 is the Arclift, just being slotted in post restriction, as this card does a lot of crazy stuff. It's a really solid card. And heck, it got limited. It was one of the limited cards. But yeah, unfortunately, like Fulgari is like, it just does, all these are just more gimmicky. Really, we need more Thunder Solar support, more of a tie-in. Solar's wants to stick to itself too much. But if we get more of this, I could see these cards seeing play. But Wind. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. I was about to say 1 out of 5 because what did this support wave do? But like Toxiswarm is a legitimately good card. Veratoga is a nice option card to have. So like these two are decent. It just doesn't, like, I had to go to 3 because it is decent. It just didn't elevate the element all too much. I got 2 solid cards, but the element just kind of needed more. So it just needed a larger support wave, to be honest. These two don't really do anything. Frost, 2 out of 5. These did stuff though. I'll give it a 3 out of 5 as well in retrospect. It just really didn't help bring the element all together. It just didn't really help bring the element all together. It introduced more interesting cards, but didn't really address what the deck needed. Oh, I have to give it a 3 out of 5 because this was playable. Cryoblast is an insane card as well. Just gave it more pieces just to be capitalized on later. And yeah, that was about it. Yeah, all in all, I feel like Daybreak, I want to say, dropped the ball because it still was exciting. It still introduced a lot of good stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, Elestrals is still a new game. So I think it's safe to say that a lot of these things are growing pains. But I think from a meta perspective, the set was disappointing because it didn't significantly do anything to the meta. I think that's fair to say. From a casual standpoint, I think this was a step in the right direction. Very much so. Or not even a casual perspective. From a holistic perspective, I think this was a step in the right direction to just introducing a new element, really starting to see some more powerful cards come out, because we got some very individually powerful cards in here. Spectaris, Eddie, Arclift, like we see some potential here. So I think this overall is just a step in the right direction. It's the biggest praise I can give this set, and I think that it does set itself up well to be built upon by Moonrise later on. That I'll say I'm done instead of continuing to ramble, because I've got stuff I need to go do. It's already like 4 o'clock here. So need to go do some stuff before dinner. So for everyone who came and hung out, thank you so much. Ooh, that's the wrong thing. I need webcam. There we go. Thank you so much for hanging out and listening to me ramble. Had a lot of fun opening the product I bought. Again, nothing too crazy, but hey, we're here for the Nectar of the Gods. I should turn on light behind me. Oops, I look fine. A little dark, but anyway, just gorgeous. Stellar Nectar of the Gods. Funny double box topper, double full art from the box. And good holo pulls. All in all, had a blast. Had fun discussing the set overall at both the retrospect and the sorry, saw someone posting there on YCS Anaheim playing Elestrals. That sounds about right. Had fun retrospect for Daybreak discussing Moonrise. It'll be fun to kind of give a retrospect later on. I excited for Moonrise. I'm hoping it does a bit more to the meta as well, as I'm sure every meta player does. and just overall excited to just kind of start testing new decks, new concepts. Like, that's the real exciting thing about new sets anyway. But I'm going to keep on rambling if I don't end this. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And I'll be hopefully live again soon, sometime this month, for Shattered Stars month 10. I haven't got my shipping confirmation. I'll let you know. No, you'll see posts when I do. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing and turn on the notification bell so you're notified when I do post more videos, go live, so on and so forth. And also, if you're a fan of Vanguard or just interested, I did upload a new Vanguard video today, deck breakdown. Go check that out as well. But yeah, see you everyone.